So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the cognitive approach to mobile testing. It's just my own idea, so please don't look in internet for this approach. It's already will be there, but in some time maybe. But firstly, let me introduce just myself. So I'm the software quality assurance engineer since like 4 years plus. And so I also holding the master in cognitive science. It could be useful for this presentation, maybe. I'm also the leader of Girls Who Test group. That's the logo here. They're the female group of software testers who are teaching others how to become the software tester. And we are also mentoring people and organizing meetings in Poland, across in Warsaw, Poznań, and so on. And sometimes speaking at conferences too. I'm also the quality assurance mentor volunteer. So inside the Girls Who Test group, I'm just teaching people and helping them to get certificated and so on, just for free. And I'm also the sprinter. I'm training short runs. So I try to be agile not only at work, also in the track and field. So what I'm suggesting you for today, that firstly we can take a look into the mobile testing horizons, what actually it is, how I understand it, and how it could be understood in other words. Also, I'm not sure, is there anybody who know what cognitive science is? Anyone? Great, there are some persons. So we can try if it's what you think, if we understand it the same way. Then I would try to define the approach I suggest, I propose. So I will tell you how I understand that cognitive science meets the testing and mobile testing especially. For that, I would like to present you 3 cognitive science theories: the David Marrs visualization, Gestalt theory, and James Gibson approach. And I will tell you how I see the connection between testing and that theories. And for the very last, I would like to share my checklist that will probably help you in everyday testing, that is founded on these theories I will tell later. So let's speak the first. So yesterday, Joel Oliveira has said us about the field mobile testing. So I understand it a little bit another. I am not thinking about going to the field riding other countries to test applications. I'm just thinking about testing the mobile apps within the mobile devices. But as you can see, and as you maybe know, that's not that easy, because in mobile testing of the apps, we still have some other factors like localization, like network issues, like the sound and microphone issues, because some apps are using just modules for the good gamification experience. Sometimes we need all the device, not just the software in it. So, as you know, the mobile testing is just a quite complicated thing, not just clicking through the apps. But still, to mobile testing are applicable all other software testing goals. So I understand the goals, the most important ones are the validation of requirements, both business and technical ones, and the same, they're looking for minimizing the errors quantity. So yeah, for sure we cannot get rid of any errors at all. It's impossible, unfortunately. But we can do our best as the testers to get the smallest amount of them as possible. And that's also applicable for mobile testing, of course. And the other thing, which is most important, in my opinion, and the cognitive science could help here, is the prediction of errors. we have some algorithms, some artificial intelligence that can help us, support us indeed, but still it's nothing better than our brain, mind, and our experience. And the experience supported by intuition, that's a powerful application. And in my opinion, software testers should care also about usability, because Michel Pileton said yesterday, before the game testing presentation, that if it didn't caught your attention, it will not return on investment and the application will be not successful. And that's it. Usability is an important factor of this success. So we said about some factors and some statements, but what about devices? Because it's also a thing of matter and the complexity of the mobile testing field. So I see there are more of them than just smartphones. It applies only to all smart things and wearables, like smartwatches on clothes with any chips and any smart devices. There's also gaming pads and photo cameras with Wi-Fi and applications in it. We are actually connected with devices that are smart enough to have some testable functions. So I've already said some points why I see cognitive science application to testing and to mobile testing especially, but what exactly? So as I asked only two of you knows about cognitive science, and that's it about it. That cognitive science is all about human perception, our brain and mind, and how we operate in the world and with things. So there's no one who knows better how we are as human users, how we use software and applications, no matter it's web or mobile. But in mobile testing, it's even more important because you have just a small screen. Even the big iPad Pro, it has the limitations that are not maybe in desktop or other interfaces. So even we have a really wonderful application that is free of bugs, or even the return on investment is crazy and always nice, then still we have no guarantee that our user will not just destroy the phone, which is with this application. So no matter application is perfect, but the phone is destroyed, so we cannot use the application. And in my opinion, we should also take into consideration such cases, that our users are human, we are human, so we should care about human behaviors, not only inside the application. So once more about cognitive science itself, it's all about human brain and mind. So this field of interdisciplinary field is called also with process of the senses. So if you know how human organism sees, perceives, and how it feels the interface, then you can better test the software implemented by humans for humans. So the most devices have haptic, in other words, tactile interfaces. And it's also the very specific thing, because you have so many possibilities here that it's really hard to cover without having this human approach in mind. Because you have many gestures. You can use just one finger, two fingers. You can switch, you can make horizontal, vertical view, and that's all needs to be programmed. You cannot just say that you will teach the device how to behave in every position. You just need to code that and to have it in mind. And also when testing, to have in mind that you should take care about these factors. So I would say that despite haptic visual interface is most common, it doesn't mean that it's most common tested, and doesn't mean that developers are always aware that they should code these things. So as testers, we have the unique chance to be the ones that will risky the application before the wrong interface in terms of haptic. And also there's recently the accessibility testing is even more strong, and people are being more careful about it. And it's even the strongest example of perceptual things, that we as humans have perceptual limitations, and some people have some impairments, are more disabled, so we should care even more about these perceptual limitations of these impaired people, just to take care that our application is accessible for them too, because why not? And here's where cognitive science meets the mobile testing, because it's applicable also to web and desktop and any other software, but in mobile testing it's especially viewable. So firstly, when we come a business idea of developing something, I can bet that no one thinks about perception and the end-to-end testing and the very end interfaces interactions, because it's just not the time, especially in agile world. It's just not the matter in business planning. When the business plan is written, there's no point like human perception interfaces limitations take into consideration that point. It's all about testing work after development or during that to take care of such things. So after the business idea appears, we as the testers have the responsibility to validate under requirements of brain and mind, of human perception. And then we can develop probably more effective test cases, just to say to the business, hello, but have you thought about this? That the product needs to be used in the mobile application, and that humans are using the mobile application in that way, especially walking and not seeing anything in the world now. So it's like the matter and question about environment and usage about the application that should be developed. So after we validate this under conditions of human perception, we can go to the development of the application itself and the work with developers. The same when we are developing automated test cases, we should just think about web browser suspended or the delay and so on. And actually this seems similar metaphor to human brain and mind. We have also some delays sometimes. So just to sum up this part, this may be obvious but not obvious together with developers and testers, that most of application users are humans. Humans write applications for humans. And we have some perceptual limitations, and we have should them in mind when testing and when developing anything. And we should also decide that there is some logic behind it, that we should be aware, that maybe not be applicable to our normal way of thinking, because software has own logic, hardware has own factors and logic, and we should just to compare that, how we as human we work and how the hardware and software work. And we should to find the common point in it. So it's the question for looking of human specification, because our end user is mostly human, because we don't create applications for robots itself. We just develop robots, but the applications should and end users are always humans. And was the great idea and the good news that we are just best experts in it because we are humans. So it's just about being mindful and aware of that during the whole development process. So coming to the point of the theories, let's have the first by David Marr. He's the British neuroscientist who developed the idea of visualization stages, and the same point is for human eye. So in Marr's story, our eyes are not just looking like the image and instantly getting the information. The psychophysiology of seeing is much more complex, and the first stage, the input image, comes like the blurry thing. It's not clear and the borders are not clear. So in the Marr's idea, we are just taking the edge image for the first, and that's the point of testing the environment by our eyes. And the same comes with application. When you have something really colorful and many elements there, you cannot recognize things for just one glitch. You need a while, just a second or three, to recognize what is really in the screen. So probably the better return on investment will be have the applications that are more bordered. Maybe they're easier and shorter to see what's there exactly, than just blurry, colorful things with many elements. Then, up to David's story, after the edge image goes the 2.5 sketch. So becomes the depth in the image. We can already recognize if somewhere is closer or farther. And then therefore to be able more to interact with the things in the screen. And then after this 2.5D sketch comes the real image, so the three-dimensional image of the full object. So as you can see, there are some stages before our eye will construct the view in the whole, and that's all need to last something. Probably is this even under the second, because we would not just to be able to interact with each other normally. But still, it's not just once and this. And when testing developing applications, especially mobile, we should just take care of this delay, the perceptual delay. So maybe better to renegotiate their design before the implementation stage. Maybe it's too colorful, to have too less borders, and anybody will see that at once, or it will take just few more seconds. And then, as I see, as I said, there is some changes in the environment, even in mobile application scope, in this small screen, that our eyes are just testing. So we, as software testers, should even more be careful about our eyes and eyes of our end users, and just to keep in mind that there's some delay. So that's just the illusion that everyone see everything at once. We need just to take carefully about this delay. So, as I said about return on investment, it will be gained by someone who sees just the user's attention at once. So, the more simply and eye-catching is our design and application, the more success we can gain. Let's go to the next theory, the Gestalt theory. As maybe you can see the word, Gestalt is in German shape and was developed in Berlin by the group of psychologists. So it's a psychologist theory about recognizing schemas in the environment. And there's the main rules, the main principles. That's proximity, similarity, continuity, closure, area, and symmetry. And yeah, that's how our eyes catch the world and objects in the world. And that's also applied to mobile applications. So maybe go to the examples. The proximity, just on the... And most people see the rows on the left and the columns on the right. But that's not obvious for our eyes. We just are taught, but our environment, culture, alphabet, and the environment we live daily, that things are ordered just this way. But it's not obvious for our eyes as a human device. And there's the example in implementation. I think it's a mobile web or web. But it doesn't matter, of course. The main thing is that we know in a way our eyes, our minds interpret what eyes are seeing. That's the one thing, and that's another thing. And it doesn't matter if it's other color because they're grouped together, and we can recognize that it's some type of something another than other one. The same thing is with other principles. So in similarity, here's the idea of color, but in the example, we can see just a group of similarly ordered things. And maybe as we just surf the internet, search the internet, we are just accustomed to that. But you should remember, when developing software, it's not obvious always. For example, for front developers, designers, they should follow some UX rules, but as a testers, I think we should validate their ideas. And here is just one image with short text is one item, and they're grouped together in some sections. And that's all because just someone designed that this element and this took into a while in one item. Then let's go to the next principle, named figure ground, and it's applicable to advertisements. So in the website we have something that is one big thing visible at the first element, and later we can switch to another background that is just up to that. So mainly people see here the vase or the faces later, but in the end, after you can see both figures. It's just up to you which first, but in the end you can see both of them. And that's specific for websites. Then we have the principle of continuation. And here, I know how with you, but I'm normally seeing just two lines crossing in the middle. But why we don't see just 4 lines with together points in the middle is a matter of interpretation. But it's also, our eyes are objective and our interprets is subjective. But that's habit, that's the design rule that we can see here. Sections like columns, and we know how to read this. We don't need instruction how to read this, but how we know it, just our eyes haven't this habit to know it, to interpret it. It's our culture, and we just know from the principles. Then the principle of closure. We normally, most of the people see just the circle here.
Производители — это люди, и мы люди, и поэтому мы эксперты. Мы знаем, что такое человеческое восприятие. Есть тут, конечно, свои ограничения, и мы должны смотреть, что применимо для мобильных приложений, потому что тут больше ограничений, чем каких-то других. Но больше и какие-то взаимодействия, интерактивность, и общий вывод очень важный, что и познавательные, когнитивные науки, клиническая психология, все это применимо к нашей практике, тестированию мобильных телефонов, например. И из своей практики мы что-то можем привнести в науку. Очень хорошо иметь постоянный диалог с учеными таким образом. Ну и я надеюсь, что вы извлекли какие-то полезные идеи из моей презентации. Большое спасибо.
Hi,
Здравствуйте. Спасибо за ваш доклад. У меня Валентин. Есть ли у вас список таких наилучших практик, что можно использовать повторно, если идет тестирование мобильных приложений и так далее? Да, есть правила использования, конечно, можно их перечислить, и юзабилити, то есть удобство использования, я могу вам также это перечислить. Это все собираете на основе вашего опыта уже, или есть какой-то стандартный набор, например, Google или другие разработчики, что такое делают. Есть стандарты, конечно, в интернете можно их найти, но и у меня тоже есть вот группа, которая работает специально для меня, и у меня есть вот такая глава в книге по поводу вот этих познавательных моментов и познавательной теории. Если вам интересно, конечно, я могу поделиться с вами этим и своей презентацией. Большое спасибо.
Еще вопросы появились? Нет? Ну, хорошо, тогда можно поблагодарить всех, кто принимал участие.